Alrighty, party peoples of the interwebs, we're getting back to a car vlog, and I guess it's sort of fitting. I would otherwise be doing this in my home office, but the house is filled with more kids than I can count. I don't know what happened, but we've been overtaken by kids. This is going to be one of those moments, one of those periods of time where everyone is going to remember where they were when Donald Trump, a former president of the United States of America, was convicted on the most trumped up, pun intended, bogus kangaroo court of a show trial imaginable. Guilty on all 34 counts of that felony indictment for falsifying business records to allegedly interfere with the election, to cover up an alleged affair that he had with a porn star in 2006 that only resurfaced in 2016 prior to the election. The payment was effected after he became president, which raises questions of presidential immunity, which I'll get to in a second. Biggest show trial you could imagine. The two star witnesses, a lying porn star who lied about lying and then lied about why she lied about lying, and a convicted perjurer who admitted to more crimes on the stand than Trump has ever committed in his entire life. Literally admitted to crimes on the stand. Larceny, theft, structuring an illegal scheme because when he took out the tens of thousands of dollars from the bank in cash so that he stole 30,000 from that, he took it out in increments so the bank wouldn't know, that they wouldn't exceed the daily limits of cash withdrawals. Money that he took out as part of this alleged scheme from which he stole $30,000. That's Michael Cohen. The two star witnesses are perjurers, liars, and one of which is an admitted criminal, thief, etc. Yeah, the jury, after 2 days of deliberation, came down on Trump and found him guilty of all 34 charges. It's a joke. I'm not angry. It's not cope. And by the way, I hate that frickin' term when people say cope harder. Idiots. You don't understand the hell that you're ushering. I'm not coping. I'm not crying. I'm not even angry. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in mankind. I'm disappointed in people who should be a little bit smarter, who should be a little bit more moral, more ethical, and they frame their literal evil. They frame their evil as ethics. Oh, no one's above the law. Horse crap. Donald Trump has been in business for 40 some odd years. No charges, no accusations of racism until 2016. No accusations of sexual misconduct. I mean, the guy probably sleeps around. This is kind of in the realm of the world in which they live. Not my world. Married multiple times, whatever. But no charges of impropriety, sexual impropriety, no charges of racism, no charges, accusations of sexual assault, no criminal charges. A man who's been audited by the IRS more times than many of us will even get to, eat breakfast. That's a bad analogy. A man who has been more thoroughly investigated in the course of his business dealings and only becomes an enemy of the existential threat to the deep state when he decides to run against the Democrats. Only then does he become racist. Does he then become a criminal, a sexual deviant, which is ironic because if we want to talk about sexual deviancy, we probably see a whole hell of a lot more of that on the capital D Democrat side, in the capital D Democrat Hollywood scene than we see anywhere else. And I can give you names: Weinstein, Weiner, Epstein. I mean, geez Louise. Yeah, the accusations of everything against Trump, I still say are true of the people making the accusations. But the bottom line, we just had, a 5-week trial? The most outrageous, devoid of any fact trial. We called it a kangaroo court, a show trial, because that's how it was designed by the corrupt Judge Marchand. Just understand the players in this political theater. Soros-funded Alvin Bragg, who declined to take this case up a while back but had second thoughts. I guess he got the call. Judge Marchand, totally judicially corrupt beyond words. His daughter making money off this very prosecution because she works a PR firm, Authentic Media, whatever the hell it's called. And who are her clients? He's not a perjurer, just serial liar Adam Schiff is one of her clients. The man who came out and lied to America about having seen smoking gun evidence about the Russia collusion hoax, lie, deep state operative plan. Came out and said, I saw smoking gun evidence, lied. He lied knowing that no one could rebut that lie without violating the confidentiality of those commission hearings. Liar. The judge's daughter is making millions for herself, for her client Adam Schiff, who's campaigning, raising money off of this prosecution. That's another player. Then you got Stormy Daniels, political operative, who's made over $1 million as a result of the hate for Donald Trump. She's made over $1 million, and when they're going after Trump for fraudulent business records to conceal payment, it looks like it might be Stormy Daniels who's done that very same thing, according to Michael Avenatti, who's given prison interviews and tweets. Stormy Daniels, when she got paid for the Netflix documentary, caused that payment to bypass her so that she wouldn't collect that money and then have to remit it to Donald Trump because she owes him over $500,000 for frivolous lawsuits she took out against him. So she's concealing money. No crime there. No accusations there. Michael Cohen admitted to theft. Now, it's been time barred, admittedly, as this misdemeanor charge would have been had they not bumped it up to a bogus felony. Michael Cohen lies on the stand, admits to lying, admits to having committed perjury, commits perjury on the stand, admits to being a liar on the stand, and admits to being a thief on the stand. He comes up there. It was his testimony that was linchpin to this case, that Donald Trump instructed him to structure the payment to Stormy Daniels to conceal it as a retainer payment to Michael Cohen. It was his testimony that that's exactly what it was, based on an 86-second phone call that he placed to Secret Service to complain about a 14-year-old pranking him. And then he said, oh, yeah, put me through to Donald Trump. Oh, yeah, we're going to structure this payment to Stormy Daniels. That was his testimony. That's how you get around the payment to make it Trump directing Cohen to have done it, because Cohen did it. Cohen made the payments, but says Trump directed me to do it. That's how he gets the 34 felony charge indictment. He's a liar. He's a thief, admitted to larceny. And the jury, after 2 days of deliberation, said, yeah, we trust his testimony. Guilty on all counts. Now, the media is out there running around like a bunch of idiots. Guilty on 34. They were literally on MSNBC. They had like a little scorecard. Bing, 1. Bing, 2. Once he was found guilty, or once the jury was going to find him guilty on one charge, they were going to find him guilty on all 34. Because all 34 charges are iterations, basically, of the same charge. Writing the check, entering it in the ledgers, writing it in the books. So month over month over month, it was 4 felonies because they wrote the check. He signed the ledgers. He entered it in the books like that. So once they found him guilty on one, they were going to find him guilty on all 34, but they did it. They went ahead and they did it, and you get the MSNBC literally with their checkbox, bing, 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 and these idiot morons on Twitter saying guilty, guilty, guilty 34 times. Very creative. I mean, first of all, I predicted this, and I'm unhappy that I'm right, although I actually am more right pretty often. I mean, I do pretty good. I'm wrong in first instance sometimes, but then I get vindicated on appeal, as I'm still waiting for on the disqualification of Fani Willis. But they're running around saying guilty, guilty, guilty. I said they were going to convict. They need the headlines, even if it gets overturned on appeal, which by all accounts it will. By all reputable attorney assessment, Jonathan Turley, Alan Dershowitz, Robert Barnes, by all accounts of any reputable attorney with half a reputation and half a shred of dignity, the case was bogus, and it will get overturned on appeal. But they're going to run with the headlines in the interim because that's all they need. It doesn't matter if it gets overturned in appeal. They're going to run with the headlines like the idiot Operation Mockingbird hacks that they are, and they're doing it already. They're proving it true in the first hour of this conviction. But there's a very interesting thing about all of this. The trial was a little bit shorter than anticipated, but it's still close to 6 weeks. The verdict came right at the right time, before SCOTUS is set to issue their ruling on Trump's immunity. Because remember, there's a pending decision coming down from SCOTUS as to the scope and extent of any presidential immunity that Trump might benefit from. And this could include some of the issues in the case in New York, because those payments went through, allegedly, the alleged covering up payments went through when Trump was president. So there is a question, depending on the scope of the immunity decision to come down from SCOTUS, as to whether or not it has an impact on the New York decision, whether or not it overturns the New York conviction. They squeak this decision in before that ruling can come down, while they are simultaneously waging a PR war against conservative justices on the Supreme Court and their spouses. Alito, I forget the other one. Well, they've already gone through Clarence Thomas, and there's another one, I forget. They're waging that war at the same time that this decision comes down, before SCOTUS issues their ruling that might have an impact on and potentially even overturn this conviction. Coincidence? I think not. First time is an accident, second time is whatever, third time is enemy action. I've screwed it up, but you know what I mean. And so that's it. Am I outraged? Yes. Do I think this is going to help Trump? Absolutely. Do I think that they might use this conviction also to stage something of a false flag, get someone to act out some sort of violence against some prominent Democrat politicians as reprisals so they can try to fabricate another Fedsurrection, another January 6th? You're damn right I'm afraid of that. I'm more afraid of that than I'm afraid of actual capital P patriots, capital C conservatives doing something stupid, because this only helps Trump. It only helps Trump, and they know it. And the other major concern is they've crossed one Rubicon after another. And this seems to be the second to last Rubicon that they are willing to cross in order to preserve power, even if it means burning down the entire institution and reigning over the ashes. How far are they going to go? I thought they were going to go as far as they went with trying to get Trump off the ballot, indicting him, trying to lock him up. What's the next Rubicon? Because there's only one or two more left, and they ain't good. And it doesn't look like this corrupt war machine of a Democrat deep state uni party to some extent is going to stop. Am I angry? No. I'm disappointed. Am I shocked? No. I am just unpleasantly surprised that I was right in the prediction, that they actually had the audacity to do it. I tweeted this out after the Engeron ruling. Get out of New York. I retweeted that tweet with get out of New York. This is going to wreak havoc on New York. There's no good reason to do business there anymore. There's no good reason to exist there if you are politically disfavored. And if anybody thinks this stops with the politically disfavored, you're idiots. You don't know what happens in communism. You don't know what happens under these fascist regimes. Once they're done using you for their purposes, they go after you. And they're going to go after everybody who's politically disfavored, and that will change over time. And get out of New York. It's going to devastate the economy, and it will, and it should. And people should boycott New York as a matter of principle, even though I don't typically support boycotts. But the problem is, this does irreparable harm to the fabric of America, and you think Putin is ever going to look at America and say, you're going to lecture me? You think Kim Jong-un is looking at this and saying, well, Otto Warmbier had a trial, but his only lasted a day. You dragged yours on for 5 weeks. Oh, but we didn't have a jury. It was a politically biased jury pool in a politically biased district in a prosecution that was corrupt to the core, run by political operatives. And that's it. Convenient timing. They're going to run with the headlines. It gets overturned in appeal. We might have an immunity decision that changes all of this. And when it turns out that this is going to help Donald Trump, which it will, because people are seeing through this and people are, I hope, getting outraged by this. The only people rejoicing on this are political hacks. MSNBC, Lawrence Tribe, George Conway, Mark Elias, Michael Cohen. The only people rejoicing in this are political hacks who have financial gain from this and who would sooner pop the ball than share it. They would sooner destroy the system than allow for a free election where people can vote for the candidate of their choice. They're going to run with, do you want to vote with for a convicted felon? They're going to do it. It's not going to make a darn difference. But they've done irreparable harm to the fabric of the judiciary. It's about freaking time the Supreme Court might step in and say, enough is enough. You can't go back on certain things. And the damage that this has done to the judiciary, I would argue, is on par with the damage that was done to the medical institutions over the last 4 years. We can't trust what we once thought were pillars, the foundation of a free, democratic, and just society. And I don't know how you come back from that. This is going to help. It's not going to hurt. Don't do anything stupid. Anybody saying do something stupid, take for granted they're a Fed. Anybody doing something stupid, take for granted they're a Fed. That's what they want. This is an act of judicial provocation. It's not going to work, and just be weary of that. That's my analysis. That's it. Am I sweating? I'm sweating like a pig. I got new glasses today. I just hope I don't look too much like a commie with them. They're good. I like these glasses. But that is it. Don't do anything stupid. This is an act of provocation to push people to do stupid things. And the ultimate irony in all of this is that they have actually deterred people from even gathering peacefully to protest or to support Trump, because the last time they did that, January 6, 2021, they turned it into a Fedsurrection. So watch out. Don't do anything stupid. And if you see people doing something stupid, call them out. The same way they called out Ray Epps on January 5th, 2021. Fed, Fed, Fed. That's it. I got to go make a barbecue, cook some dinner, and I think I'm going to have a nice dry martini with some capers, because that's damn good. Peace out, peeps. Booyah.